Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever you join us from this, I'd like to welcome you to exclusive online television. My name is Mohammed Mkimoka, and I'm coming live and direct from the Ministry of Defense here on Lane Street, bringing you this a bit up to the 178th Independence Day celebration, which is being held here at the Barclay on this 26th day of July 2025. So just to bring you up to speed on some of the activities, some of what have happened before this Independence Day celebration. The President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, initiated on yesterday granted 75 inmates from across Monrovia central prisons to be set free. That is, those of whom that are being placed in a category, those inmates that should be pardoned, they are being placed in a category, and the first one includes that inmates who have served more than 50% of their sentence for non-capital offenses. So those inmates that are serving across prisons in Liberia that have served 50% of their sentence for non-capital offenses were set free. To misdemeanor offender who have completed their sentences but remain incarcerated for inability to pay. So those who have served but they remain unable to pay, they were also being set free. Detail here again, we have terminally ill inmate with medical certification indicating a low likelihood of severe beyond July 2025. So those who you see probably they are sick and they are presented a certificate that are within the confines of the month of July, and it's been proven that okay, yes, this person is sick, okay, fine. The president said these people should be set free. And for elderly inmates age 50 and above, convicted for non-capital crimes with consistent good behavior. So those inmates that are actually in the age range of 50 and above, they are also some of them were also set free. That is, you can be of the age 50 or above, but you should have a good behavior. So with the good behavior, you'll also be set free. And we also have felons with no more than 2 years remaining on their expected date of release. That is, those who are there, or some of them who are serving, for instance, they have not more than 2 years, nothing more than 2 years to be set free. We also pardon some of them. So the total of them should be 75. 75 of them will be set free from across Monrovia. That is the Monrovia Central Prison, other prison across Liberia. They were also granted. So for today's Independence Day, we have in attendance. We have Orki, dignitaries that will be attending this program today. We have His Excellency Umaru Mokhtar Sisesco, embattled from the Republic of Guinea-Bissau. We have His Excellency Julius Maada Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, and we also have His Excellency Bassirou Diomaye Dakai Faye, President of the Republic of Senegal. The Republic of Senegal will be represented here. We also have Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambaz, a former president of the ECOWAS Commission and AU High Representative for silencing the guns. We also have Dr. Abbas Charno Mbundu, a former executive secretary, the former executive secretary of ECOWAS and former speaker of the Parliament of Sierra Leone. We also have His Excellency Mr. Jean Claude Kassi Bo, former president of ECOWAS Commission and governor of the Central Bank of West African States. We also have His Excellency Mr. Lassana Kouyaté, former Prime Minister of Guinea and former Executive Secretary of ECOWAS Commission. And also we've been informed that the President of the Republic of Ghana, that John Dramani Mahama of Ghana, will also be in attendance to celebrate with Liberia on this 178th Independence Day here in Liberia. So just a quick information, what we need to understand is that on the history of Liberia, on how she gained her independence and who colonized Liberia. This has been one part of the history that most of us keep misunderstanding, of which we need to understand. The issues of America being the one to colonize Liberia. Let us get this on the record. America did not colonize Liberia. America did not colonize Liberia. In fact, it was surprising to know that it was after 15 years before America identified, or before she recognized Liberia independence in 1862. Then when she was facing her civil crisis. In 1862, before she recognized Liberia independence, the first republic to recognize Liberia independence was Great Britain in 1848. So in 1848, right after she gained independence, in 1847, you had Great Britain recognizing Liberia independence. It was just a handful of individuals from the institution, the ACS, American Colonization Society, that after they repatriated those African slaves that got freed after some time working in the Americas, and then and through that organization, those free slaves, they were able to come together to fight for an independence. So one of the key persons behind this was Hilary Teach, and Hilary Teach served as the first orator of Liberia independence in 1847. So he was actually behind this entire thing of a Liberia gain or independence. And so on some of the counts of which he was on was actually on the let me get my hand on it quick. So Hilary Teach emphasized on his message in 1847. The message was on the importance of liberty and self-governance, and also talk about the right of people of African descent to build their own sovereignty nation. In the message, he also mentioned about Liberia's mission on a formal and civilizing force in West Africa. So this was his message that he was actually sending out there to Liberians who were forming part of the Independence Day celebration, the very first Independence Day celebration, 1847. So let us understand this in history. Those slaves, or those enslaved Africans that were working in the Americas, after some time, they got freed when they were being repatriated. But before the repatriation, the ACS had a meeting on January 16, 1817, And the purpose of the meeting was to actually repatriate those enslaved Africans. And the account, well, the Africans were growing in numbers. And as such, they were taking over the land. So their fear was the Africans growing in huge numbers, the Africans taking over the land. So therefore, they had a meeting on the 16th of January 1816, in which they agreed to find an error. So in that agreement, they had two representatives that they sent to search out for a suitable area that those enslaved Africans can be repatriated. John S. Mill and Ebenezer Budget were asked. They first visited Great Britain, and our mission to Great Britain was to communicate with the British government, because then Sierra Leone was on Great Britain. So their mission to Great Britain was to negotiate with the British government to use Sierra Leone. But Great Britain did not agree. So Mill and Budget left Great Britain and visited Sierra Leone. Then they met the governor of Sierra Leone, Charles McCarthy. McCarthy was then serving as the governor of Sierra Leone. Also didn't agree to their proposal. So it was this long-time serving enslaved Africans, John Kisse, who was served and got freed and returned. So on Shebo Island, they met John Kisse, and John Kisse negotiated. He accommodated them on Shebo Island, and also negotiated that the meetings between the African kings and that of the Americans were fruitful, where he served as interpreters between the African kings and the ACS. In that meeting, it was agreed by the African kings. Some of the African kings that attended that meeting were King Jack Ben, King Beer Bottle, and King Okana Joda, and the name goes on. So they were in huge attendance in that meeting. So after that meeting, it was agreed upon. But the African kings did not give the land to the ACS right away. So John S. Mill and Ebenezer Budget, while returning, Mill died and were buried at sea. So Budget took the information to the ACS. In taking the information to the ACS, they also asked two representatives to come and get the deal sealed between the African kings and the ACS. Eli Aries and Robert Fish Stockton, they came and they were able to acquire the first portion of this land. But then, before the time, this land was never known as Liberia on record. This place was called the Green Coast or the Pepper Coast. So they ought to get the first portion after Eli Aries and Robert Fish Stockton sealed the deal between the African kings and that of the ACS. They got Cape Messerado, of which they named the place Christopolis, meaning City of Christ, and later was renamed in honor of the 5th president of the Republic of the United States of America, James Monroe. Today we have the capital name in honor of James Monroe, the 5th president of the United States of America. So on and on. How did the name Green Coast change, or the Pepper Coast change to Liberia? So the first batch of enslaved settlers or Africans arrived at the Duzo Island. They first landed through ship Elizabeth on Duzo Island in the Gola Vernacular. It means the land being surrounded, or water, or land being was surrounded by water, or water being surrounded by land. That was the name first, before taking the name to Perseverance and now Providence Island. So they landed. One of the enslaved Africans, he went on the ground and took the sand and said, freed, we have been freed, and we have been given a home. That was the first word of that African. So they got the name from the Latin word labor, which means free. So in order, they were saying that they are getting the freedom, they are getting a home, so therefore they are getting liberty. So they got the name Liberia from the Latin word labor. So the name Liberia, or the name Green Coast, changed today to Liberia from the Latin word labor. And on. We went through the colonial period. We lasted for 17 years. From there we went for the Commonwealth period. And then we came in onto why did Liberia even went for an early independence? Some will ask why. But our fear was the British government, the French government, taking away portion of our land. Today, where you have the Jeke, where you have the Zirikore, these areas, or those areas, were all on Liberian land, but were being forcefully taken by the French and was given to Guinea. Today, portion of Sierra Leone as well. So she went in for her independence in 1847. In July 26, she gained her independence. And the first orator for that independence was Hilary Teach. And some of his messages that he preached was actually on the importance of liberty and self-governance, the right of people of African descent to build their own sovereign nation. Liberia's nation as a moral and saving force in West Africa. So this was his message. Then we've been sending across, calling on Liberians to stand very tall in order to uphold to the value of the land. So again, if you just join us, let us say a pleasant welcome to exclusive online television. The names are Mohammed M. Boakai, coming live and direct from coming live and direct from the Barclay Training Center here on Lane Street, Central Monrovia, Liberia. And this is just an update. This is just a build-up to the entire process, and we are seeing the officers over there. I'm seeing the officers form themselves in order. I'm sure that the parade will start in a moment for now. The parade will start in a moment for now. And just to bring you up to speed with a little insight on the orator of today's celebration. Let me bring a bit information on the orator of today's celebration. So this is on the executive mansion of Liberia page. It says a biography of Liberia's 178th Independence Day orator, Ambassador Emmett L. Dunn, Presidential Special Envoy for Partnership and Philanthropy, Republic of Liberia, Executive Secretary, CEO, Lord Kerry Baptist Foreign Mission Convention, Ambassador Emmett L. Don is a seasoned international leader, ordained clergy, and passionate advocate for global mission and national development. He currently serves for pro bono as Presidential Special Envoy for Partnership and Philanthropy in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Liberia, a position to which he was appointed by His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia. In his capacity, he is responsible for mobilizing international partnerships, philanthropic capital, technical assistance, and diaspora resources in support of Liberia's arrest agenda for national development, particularly in areas of health, education, infrastructure, entrepreneurship, reconciliation, and diaspora engagement. Ambassador Don is also the Executive Secretary and CEO of the Liberia Baptist Foreign Mission Convention, an influential global Christian mission community rooted in African American Baptist heritage, appointed in 2019. He is the first non-U.S. born individual to lead the organization in its over 127 years history. Under his stewardship, Liberia has expanded its footprint across 14 countries, managing a multi-million dollars annual budget while spearheading initiatives in evangelism, compassion, empowerment, and advocacy. A narrative of Liberia, Reverend Don global impact is rooted in more than 3 decades of distinguished service. For 22 years, he served with the Baptist War Alliance, holding position
So you understand? So tout le monde on the road again. You understand?
Yeah, you need to understand.
Yeah. Every. You understand? You see the arrow there? All of them. I don't think going. So you get yeah. So when we are going now? If you just want to suitable play, put it in. You see that play what? That put it. So yeah.
So, still on the profile of the orator of today's celebration, Reverend Emmett L. Don. This is Ambassador Don is also executive. And I'm saying the vice president of the Republic of Liberia is here. No, that's not the vice president. The speaker of the 55th legislature, Honorable Richard Namikon, has arrived. The speaker of the 55th legislature, Honorable Richard Namikon, has arrived. Man, to go by water. The people be marching this way. You getting me? Yeah. Well, go back. So, Ambassador Don is also the Executive Secretary and CEO of the Liberia Baptist Foreign Mission Convention, an influential global Christian mission community rooted in African American Baptist heritage, appointed in 2019. He is the first non-U.S. born individual to lead the organization in its over 127 years history. Under his stewardship, Lord Kerry has expanded its footprint across 14 countries, managing a multi-million dollars annual budget while spearheading initiatives in evangelism, compassion, empowerment, and advocacy. A native of Liberia, Reverend Dawn Global Impact is rooted in more than 3 decades of distinguished service. For 22 years, he served with the Baptist War Alliance, holding positions such as Director of the Youth Department and Director of the Baptist War Congress, traveling to over 100 countries promoting youth leadership, peace building, and mission development. His career began at Providence Baptist Church in Monrovia, Liberia, where he was ordained in 1987 and served as Director of Christian Education. He later pastored West Harterville Baptist Church in Maryland, USA, before taking on global leadership role that bridged Ministry of International Development. Ambassador Dawn current service in numerous national and international capacities including member Presidential Committee on the Reburial of former President William Orator and Samarkando, National Chair, Liberia Diaspora Annual Conference Planning Committee, Chairman, Empowerment Squared, Liberia and William Orator Junior Foundation, Board Member, American Red Cross of Soften, Maryland, General Board of Ministries, American Baptist Churches USA, Churches for Middle Eastern Peace, a District of Columbia Baptist Foundation, Member, Honorary Board of Governors, Liberia Community Association of Washington, D.C. Metro Area.
Thank you. 40. Just go, you meet the MP
So still on the keynote, the orator of today's celebration. He is also active in civil society, serving as a retrained with the Rotary Club of Monrovia and holding past leadership roles such as Chair Board of Advisors, Rick's Institute Liberia, Trustees, Liberia Baptist Theological Seminary, President Providence Baptist Fellowship USA, member NAACP International Affairs Committee. Ambassador Dawn's commitment to Liberia is especially evident through his leadership in initiatives like Empowerment Squared Liberia, where he is helping establish the Liberia Learning Center, a pioneer educational resource hub offering library services, digital literacy, and academic support to underserved communities. He also championed programs for scholarships, school infrastructure development, child nutrition, vaccination, and rural healthcare access. A respected conference and event leader, Reverend Dawn is affiliated with the Professional Conference Manager Association, National Coalition of Black Meeting Pioneers, and Religious Conference Management Association. His academic credentials include Bachelor of Theology, Liberia Baptist Theological Seminar, which he obtained in 1986. Graduate Certificate, Virginia Theological Seminar 1989, Master of Divinity, Howard University School of Divinity 1991, Honorary Doctor of Divinity, Liberia Baptist Theological Seminar 2014. Ambassador Dawn is married to Swan J. Dawn, and they are the proud parents of 3 children: Leanne Ahmed Latif Jr. and Anetta Oliver. Through his faith, Diplomacy and Leadership, Ambassador Emmett Eldon continues to build bridges between communities, mobilize transformative resources, and contribute meaningfully to Liberia's renewal and global Christian mission. So that's just a bit of about the orator that Reverend Emmett Eldon. So we are told at 7:45 the President of the Republic of Liberia will be here to view the troop, that is those who are involved with this parade. So this parade has now kicked.
Where are you? 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 How far are you? Wait. Over there. Down and straight these two people. Look the flag coming. Yeah, I went out of yeah, man. I'm coming before that. That's you. Speak to the road.
So. Oh, sir. You're gonna have to so the truth. So this march is being comprises of the Armed Forces of Liberia, the Liberia National Police, the Liberia Immigration Service, and I'm also told that the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency is also part of this march here, and I'm told that the Liberia Revenue and Authority Custom Department is also part of this parade, this march as well.
Independence Day parade is Captain Alvin Tobacco.
So the commander of troop is Captain Alvin Tobacco. He holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from the African Methodist Zion University. So the Liberia Fire Service is also part of this parade here. We have the National Port Authority, custom officers also part of this parade. Let get it. So we got to say. So you just witness the marching of the troops. So the president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, will now inspect his troops. So we are getting closer to bringing more updates on this 178th Independence Day celebration that is being held at the
178th Independence Day parade held at the Barclay Training Center, Monrovia.
Barclay Training Center here in Monrovia.
Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Tapper, Chief of Public Affairs, Armed Forces of Liberia, and the Master of Ceremony for this Independence Day parade. Liberia is the first nation on the African continent to gain its independence on 26 July 1847. Tradition has it that every year, July 26, we celebrate Liberia's independence as a sovereign nation. This day also is a reflection of our brave men and women who shared their blood for Liberia as the first free and independent nation of Africa. As a force for good, the armed forces of Liberia will continue to defend the Liberian way of life and its constitution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today's Independence Day parade is being executed by the armed forces of Liberia, the Liberian National Police, the Liberian Immigration Service, the Department of Customs, Liberian National Fire Service, the Liberian Drugs Enforcement Agency, the Bureau of Corrections and Rehabilitation, the Liberian Seaport Police, the Monrovia City Police, the Pittsville City Police, and the Liberian Scout Association. The music for today's parade is being provided by the Armed Forces of Liberia Band under the direction of 2nd Lieutenant Philip Kape, and the drum major for today's parade is Private Emilio T. Boakai. The commander of troops will now form up his staff for the execution of today's parade. Ladies and gentlemen, from my far right, you can see the commander of troops marching to the field to form up the formation. The commander of troops for today's parade is Captain Alvin Tobago. Present-day parades in the military have their basis in both history and tradition. The mass formation of troops on one line at close interval made possible the massing of firepower from the muzzle-loaded muskets of yesterday. In those early days, the line of battle. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of troops has just ordered his staff to march on the parade ground. From a far right, once again, the staff of the commander of troops marching on the parade ground. In those early days, the line of battle was just a line of 2 or 3 ranks and looks much like the formation you will see today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, generally, soldiers have one primary task: to be trained and ready to fight and win their nation's wars. This is achieved through tough, realistic, and challenging training that ensures effectiveness, proficiency, and professionalism in battle. Ladies and gentlemen, the adjutant is now moving. He's now conducting a quick march. We call that quick march in the military to form up the parade. The adjutant just gave an order. He said, sound the adjutant call. Ladies and gentlemen, sound the adjutant call indicates that the adjutant is about to form their parade. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, The primary value of drills historically is to prepare troops for battle. The adjutant is now marching to resume his post after sounding the adjutant's call. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see right now is the troops are marching from the ready line to the front line to execute the parade. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see right now is each unit commander is aligning his troops by the order of prescribed dress. He's making sure his troops are properly aligned. After aligning his troops, each commander will now march back to the front of his troops. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the marching of the colors.
Where this 68 this right now is
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the flag is more than just a symbol. The flag of the Republic of Liberia represents the embodiment of our government, people, ideals, and values.
Sit again, Fox General, this is the place. Welcome to exclusive. So the sexy took place in Barclay.
of the parade.
Already nine.
Members
So
of the color party include Staff Sergeant Lionel Morgan, Staff Sergeant
not to only witness the move also from running out to the final line. So at 7:30 a.m. the arrival of our deputy chief of staff of the armed forces of Liberia, and at 7:25 this will be the arrival of the chief of staff of the armed forces of Liberia. At 7:50 the arrival of the Ministry of National Defense, Brigadier General Jordan George. And then here will be the arrival of His Excellency Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia, CRC of the Armed Forces of Liberia, and 8:05 will be playing of the national anthem. 10 a.m. will be the pass and review, and the departure of His Excellency Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia, in the CRC of the Armed Forces of Liberia. But before that, at 7:45 a.m., troops will march to the prison.
The flag is more than a symbol. The flag is the embodiment of government, people, and use its values.
Also, Oscar Nova is the assistant minister for coalition. The press and the Senate, yet at the Senate. Oscar Nova, assistant minister for defense,
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as the color party posts the colors and form part of the parade.
Where the ceremony will officially begin.
The color party is now marching to post the colors and form part of the parade. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The colors are now posted. This signifies that the parade is formed. Ladies and gentlemen, the adjutant has just ordered the band to sound off. Sound off is a ceremonial military tradition that has been handed down for decades. On the command sound off, it is customary for the band to march across the front of the troops. Then counter-march across the front of the troops and halt in its original position. This tradition originated in the Crusades, when troops offering themselves to holy sacrifice were driven up into the long formation before being chosen to serve. soldier is to represent the best of our nation. It is to embody selfless service, to strive in the hardship and sacrifice of an elite warrior class, to walk toward the sound of guns, and to ably shoulder heritage created by those who have gone before us. The fire service. Ladies and gentlemen, to be a firefighter is to commit yourself to public safety and emergency response. Firefighters rescue people and properties from dangerous situations by providing medical care and maintaining equipment. Firefighters are often the first responders in fire outbreaks and some other emergency situations. The Liberian Scout Association. The Liberian Scout Association represents the dreams and aspirations of Liberia's future generation. It is to provide voluntary services to Liberia and empower Liberian youth to become responsible citizens and integrity future leaders. The Liberia Scout Association remains unwavering in its commitment to shape a future generation of disciplined, sober-minded, and service-driven young leaders. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the band is now marching back to its original position. Some of in the military is the drill the band conducts to entertain gallant men and women who have been chosen to serve. This entertainment serves also as motivation for the forces that have sacrificed and giving their lives to the nation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the armed forces of Liberia is directed by Second Lieutenant Philip Patrick, and the drum major is Private Emilia Boakai. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, immediately the band resumes its original position. The adjutant will execute an all phase and inform the commander of troops the parade is formed. The commander of troops will then order the adjutant to receive the report. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce the arrival of the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, Major General Davison Koya Fone. Ladies and gentlemen, the adjutant is now receiving the report. In the military, the command received a report is synonymous to acquiring the status of your troops. Accountability in the military is one of the fundamental necessities that takes place before and after every military action. Each unit commander is now reporting to the adjutant on the status of his troops. After this, the adjutant has executed an about face and informed the commander of troops that all are present, and the commander of troops has ordered the adjutant to resume his post and box the staff. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing right now is the adjutant and the rest of the staff are marching in front of the commander. This signifies that the commander of troops has assumed authority over the parade. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the commander of troops has taken over the parade from the adjutant. This indicates that the formation is formed completely. And this brings the first phase of the parade to an end. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the second phase of the parade will resume immediately His Excellency, Mr. President, arrives. Thank you.
So you listen to the master ceremony. The first phase of this parade has ended, and the second phase will kick upon the arrival of the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai, and His Excellency
As we await the arrival of His Excellency Mr. President, the AFL band will entertain us with an interlude of music. The AFL band.
So the Armed Forces of Liberia will do an interlude of music through the AFL band. Listen, this is the place I wanted to be. This song being played by the Armed Forces forces of Liberia marching there.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce the arrival of the Honorable Minister of National Defense, Brigadier General Geraldine Janet George, retired.
So the Minister of National Defense, Geraldine J. George,
proposed suit actually escorted to see officers of the
receiving the Honorable Minister with the music.
So the Minister of Defense, Geraldine Janet George, greeting fellows.
Sitting behind his boss, assisting to the Minister for Information, former Director of Press, Liberia Senate. The Chief of the President,
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we await the commencement of the second phase of the parade, permit me to acquaint you with activities of that phase. Immediately His Excellency Mr. President arrives, the commander of troops will march the colors forward for honor to the nation. After which, the colors will be posted to each original position. Once the colors are posted to the original position, the commander of troops will march to His Excellency Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief and request for permission to conduct the pass-in review. The pass-in review is the portion of this parade where the commander of troops, including each unit commander, will march to pass right before His Excellency Mr. President and render a hand salute. After the pass-in review, the program comes to an end. Thank you.
So, in a moment from now, you will see the arrival of the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai. So, the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai, will be shortly. And that's the combo by His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia, and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia has arrived. And upon his arrival, the second phase of this parade will feature the kids, and you have the Defense Minister, Geraldine Janet George. They are standing to receive the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai. The schools of military men are also posted to receive.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please rise
So,
for the arrival of the President of the Republic of Liberia and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, Mr. President, has been positioned at the viewing stand,
So the President of the Republic of Liberia
and the Commander of Troops
Boakai, and on his right,
will now bring the colours forward
Minister
to present to His Excellency, Mr. President, and Commander-in-Chief for respect to the nation.
This is I'll be looking at you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander of Troops is now marching the colours forward for honor to the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander of Troops is about to request permission from the Commander-in-Chief for honor to the nation. He just informed the Commander-in-Chief that the colours are present. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at the playing of the national anthem, all military and paramilitary personnel wearing uniforms
So the national anthem of the Republic of Liberia is not being played at the Armed Forces of Liberia marching band. Just a few seconds, you witness the arrival of the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing until the colours are posted. The colour party is now marching to post the colours.
That I go to rough this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the callers are now posted. Please be seated while His Excellency, Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia remains at the viewing stand for the pass in review. The Commander of Troops is now marching to the Commander-in-Chief to request permission for the pass in review. His Excellency, Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief has granted permission to the Commander of Troops for the pass in review. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once more, to be a soldier is to represent the best of our nation. It is to embody selfless service, to strive in the hardship and sacrifice of an elite warrior class, to walk toward the sound of guns and to ably shoulder heritage created by those who have gone before us. To be a firefighter is to commit yourself to public safety and emergency response. Firefighters rescue people and properties from dangerous situations by providing medical care and maintaining fire equipment. To be a Liberian scout is to represent the dreams and aspiration of Liberia's future generation. It is to provide voluntary services to Liberia and empower Liberian youth to become responsible citizens and integrity future leaders. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the commander of troops for today's Independence Day parade is Captain Alvin Tobago. Captain Tobago pays compliments to His Excellency Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief. The armed forces command under the direction of Second Lieutenant Philip. The drum major is Private Liberia. Boakai. The drum major has paid compliments to His Excellency Mr. President. The Liberia Revenue Authority Department of Customs is commanded by Officer Julia N. Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, the accounts, the Liberia National Fire Service, commanded by Major Emmanuel Parker. Here comes the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency. Commanded by Sergeant Liberia Seaport Police, commanded by Patrol Band Eastbound throughout the sector. The Monrovia City Police, commanded by Lieutenant Will B. Davis. Now the Peaceville City Police, commanded by Officer Richard F. Emily. Ladies and gentlemen, our future leaders, the Liberia Scout Association, commanded by Commissioner Samuel S. Cohen. Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia. This concludes the past review.
And so they conclude the past and review.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the program. His Excellency, Mr. President, is now taking his leave. Please remain standing. His Excellency, Mr. President, and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, now departing the parade field.
So the president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, is now departing or retiring from the Barclay Training Center, BTC here in Central Monrovia, Liberia, on Lynch Street. So we'll be heading for the Centennial Pavilion, where we'll bring you the full coverage of the 178th Independence Day celebration. So whatever you join us from, however you're joining us, we'd like to say Happy Independence Day to all of our viewers, all of our followers. The management of Exclusive Online Television is extremely excited to have all of you from the part of this broadcast. So quickly, let me run you through the comment section to bring you some of our comments from the comment section. Let me run you through the comment section to bring you some of the comments from our comment section. Victor Akad Senior says Happy Independence Day to us. I'm watching from Buchanan City. This one says Muhammad Esau says Happy Independence Day to us as Liberians. Joseph Pele says Happy Independence Day to Mama Liberia. May God bless you, Mama Liberia. And Ibrahim Kalon says Happy Independence Day. And Jimmy Harris says Happy Independence Day, Mama Liberia. Mama Liberia, we are so much grateful. Salome Jackson says Happy Independence Day, Mama Liberia. And Josephine J. Scott says Happy Independence Day to you, to Mama Liberia. And Jacques D. Deck says Happy Independence to my second country. Alright, thanks so kind of for being the Exclusive Online Television. We'll bring you the full coverage from the Centennial Pavilion. Don't you go there with your shop day for the full broadcast. Muhammad Mkemokai coming live and direct from the Barclay Training Center.